Welcome, everyone. Now, who needs an energy boost these days? A lot's going on, right? Especially as we hit midlife, sleep gets more elusive and our joints tend to feel stiffer. My guest today has a mind-blowing message. You're going to be screaming, why didn't anybody tell me this before? Welcome to episode 14 of the Midlife Reset with Cheryl Gordon. I educate midlife women on feeling stronger, losing weight, and sleeping better using the tools of yoga and mindfulness. At the end of this podcast, we have a couple of free resources for you, so make sure you stay tuned. I can't wait to introduce you to Fariya Doctor, a longtime friend and colleague.
Hello, I am delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, thank you for coming, Fariya. Now, you are a seasoned wellness professional. You're based here in Niagara. And I know for over 25 years, you've dedicated your practice to helping individuals enhance their movement, alleviate their pain, and improve breathing patterns.
Yes, and I love what I do, Cheryl. I love how this work gives my clients their freedom back. Many times they've been to the doctor, a physio, etc., and they feel overwhelmed. They aren't getting the results. It can be demoralizing and to have to repeat the same story over and over again, doing the intakes over and over again. And some people lose faith that anyone has the answer.
I know exactly what you mean. I have been the patient and I've been the therapist in this scenario. In fact, I've been your patient. That's when my knee arthritis really flared up, couldn't even walk. But thanks for being part of the solution because I love my long hikes and I love dancing.
And that's what it's all about, getting people back to what they love to do. Pain-free movement is such a big part of our freedom to do all of that.
Yeah. So let's get into the details of how you make this happen.
Sure, I started out as a registered massage therapist. Great modality, highly recommend regular body work. But many clients wanted to do more on their own to maintain the benefits and to improve their condition. And they needed something intelligent and careful so as not to make the injuries worse. That's when I got interested in the Feldenkrais method over 20 years ago.
Now, I think the Feldenkrais approach to movement is brilliant. For those listeners who maybe haven't had a treatment for before, Fariya, can you explain a little bit more what that is, Feldenkrais?
Absolutely. The Feldenkrais method shines a helpful light on our habits. Habits tend to be blind spots for most people. We might develop avoidance patterns due to pain or injury and keep them unintentionally. They become automatic. Sometimes they cause a lot of chronic issues. Through manual therapy, I gently unravel these habit patterns. And in the class setting, we explore different options to do movements, such as reaching or turning. So, an easy example of options and habits is just simply interlace your fingers. And we all have a particular way of doing this movement. We don't tend to choose the non-habitual interlacing, where we interlace our fingers the other way. And that other way is our non-habit, right? We have to think about it when we do it. And it can often feel awkward, as if, in this case, holding a foreign hand.
As a yoga therapist, this aligns with my training perfectly. We do that a lot in yoga, like clasp your hands the opposite way. Sometimes a healing technique, as well-intentioned as it might be, is about a professional approaching the client from a place of skill, but the correction can be quite abrupt. It comes from outside the client. Our nervous system is very invested in keeping things the same. I've talked about that a lot on this podcast. The status quo is a well-known commodity. It might be uncomfortable, the status quo, but God knows what would happen if we change something. It could be worse. So I know it could be better, but our brain has to be willing to buy into that. And then if our brain notices a more pleasant or easier way, the body might adopt that new pattern. But if we're not conscious, if we don't use this mindful and, really intelligent approach like Feldenkrais, the body snaps back to its habitual patterns. And so that's why I love the slow and the gentle. Keep repeating the inquiry.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned the nervous system. This is one of the reasons I got really interested in breath. What I noticed in my clients, and you probably noticed this too, in an effort to be really good patients, they were holding their breath and practicing and bringing a lot of effort into their movements. Or they developed unhealthy breathing patterns due to stress or illness, and this was holding back their progress.
Yeah, I do know what you mean because I do see it with my yoga students. Even clients that have been with me in classes for years, they can come in after a long day and their breathing patterns are very disrupted. Actually, I have a habit now, especially in the afternoon classes, maybe not first thing in the morning. Everyone starts lying down in Shavasana so that I can more easily assess where their bellies are at as they're breathing. And I can tell from a quick scan of the room who's had a bitch of a day.
Because the body can't lie, right? Breathing
Uh-huh.
is an automatic function, part of our nervous system that handles background functions like digestion and sleepiness. We don't have to think about it. Breathing adapts to our life automatically. But if we do it consciously and decide to shape our breath, this intimately and immediately impacts the nervous system.
I always say, change your breath, change your life.
Love that.
Now, you've been offering in-person Feldenkrais appointments for decades, and I'm sure every client learns so much more about their personal breath habits. I know that you said to me, and remember, I'm a yoga therapist who obsesses about breathing. I do what we call in yoga pranayama, which is special breathing techniques almost every day. But you told me that my right lung was a little sleepy. And it's funny because it was my right knee that was troublesome at the time. So you gave me some movements and some awareness pieces. It was so fascinating.
Yeah. So sometimes the issue is not where you think it is. Just like your experience, I had a client that had low back pain, and while analyzing her walking pattern, we discovered that she wasn't moving from the waist up. The stiffness in her torso was making her lower back work very, very hard. The area was tired and sore. So, what was making her torso stiff? She had a rapid and shallow breath. So the ribs got
Mm,
very tight.
yeah, and you have to have that rib cage movement to have a normal gait. So let's talk about Buteyko breathing. Now, this is a more recent area of study for you, right, Fariya?
That is correct. During COVID, I took the course from Patrick McEwen. I had recurring breathing issues, which I had not been able to fully resolve. And once I learned about science of breathing and used the Buteyko approach, my breathing issues went away.
Wow. I was at a conference and I think it might have been online during COVID, and I heard Patrick McEwen speak, and I downloaded a copy of his book, The Oxygen Advantage. He wrote that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. This is one of my copies. Um, and he's also got The Breathing Cure. And another book I absolutely love is Breath by James Nestor. But what Patrick did is he took the original Russian approach and made it more accessible to a wider audience. It was his own struggles with asthma and sleep disordered breathing that led him to Dr. Konstantin Buteyko's research and techniques.
Now, Buteyko breathing has had some amazing effects in clinical settings. Fariya, can you tell us about how it has changed the experience of asthma or maybe some other chronic health conditions?
Yes. So first of all, many people don't know they have a breathing pattern disorder. And this can be the key issue for breathing problems such as asthma, anxiety, sinus issues, and other chronic health conditions. So For example, I had a client with recurring bronchitis. Every single year, she would get seriously ill, and she was really tired of it. After assessing her breathing and looking at her airways, I was able to determine she was first breathing too fast and breathing mostly through her mouth. So I taught her some simple techniques to do every day, and she agreed to start taping her mouth at night. Within a couple of weeks, her symptoms dramatically changed. She was sleeping better. She was feeling much less stressed and anxious, and the recurring bronchitis stopped.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
exciting to think that, we have control over things like bronchitis, which is such a scary thing. I want to double back to something you said earlier about anxiety. I don't think a lot of people realize how much breathing patterns affect anxiety.
Yeah, so people often think that they have to be having a panic attack, to be having a overbreathing issue, or to be hyperventilating. But basically, what hyperventilating means is you're taking in way too much oxygen and blowing out too much carbon dioxide. People don't realize they actually need CO2, they need carbon dioxide, they need that balance to feel balanced. The CO2 helps to relax the body. It really assists in providing the correct uptake of oxygen to our tissues, our muscles, to our brain. And so this anxiety pattern, often people will think, well, I have to take a big breath and I have to breathe more. In fact, it's the opposite. They
Yeah.
need to slow
Yeah.
down and breathe less.
And that's typical when someone's acting stressed or having anxiety. You tell them take a deep breath. And I know as a in my clinical settings, that's probably not the right thing to say. But a lot of people don't understand that. And people don't understand about when you're talking a lot or you talk really fast, which I do, that you're probably taking in, like you say, a lot more oxygen and it's throwing those chemoreceptors off. And it's really creating a cascade effect through the whole system that can produce anxiety. And I was saying to you before when we were talking about doing this podcast, how many of my friends, as we get older, we're experiencing more and more anxiety. And there might be a lot of reasons for that, but I think one of the reasons is that we're all this over talking is catching up with us. We're going too fast. We're breathing too fast.
Yeah, and you teach stillness, right? And this is beautiful, right?
Try.
Able to still the self, still the mind, slow things down.
Yeah.
But yes, so breathing can affect, and imbalances in breathing can affect our sleep, can affect anxiety, it can affect endurance. So
Endurance.
nighttime breathing sets the tone for daytime breathing. And so if you disrupt your nighttime breathing, your daytime breathing is disrupted, your focus and concentration is affected, and your endurance in exercise and your mental health gets affected as
Wow.
well.
So I always, I have a big mission right now to help midlife women feel stronger. So this is how breath fits into having more endurance. So you have the energy to get to what you want to do, be it a workout or play with the grandchildren or whatever, hike with your girlfriends. So nighttime breathing will affect your performance the next day in that way, but also that connection with mental health. Now we highlighted anxiety, but we do have a mental health crisis in our culture. So I am really excited that we're talking about this. It sounds so simple, just breathing, everybody breathes, but we overlook such a powerful tool due to its ubiquitous nature. I mean, everyone is breathing, but not everyone is, breathing.
Yeah, we take it for granted. And being intentional and being able to shift it, and not just temporarily shift it, but learn techniques to permanently start shifting your patterns of breath is really, really useful. It makes such a difference to our overall health, vitality, and our longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And our listeners just need to take a moment to imagine blending this powerful breath awareness that Buteyko brings with the proprioceptive intelligence that the body accesses through the Feldenkrais method. This synergy creates results that are really sustainable.
And thank you for that. And yes, I feel really blessed to be able to help so many people fine tune and personalize their breathing needs, as well as unpack movement glitches that have been hounding them. It's real blessing to have these skills and to offer these skills to the community. Also, I have something new and exciting to offer in my practice. Yeah, I'm now the Canadian distributor of the Core 360 office chair. So this chair that's behind me, it looks really
Oh,
simple, but it has a rocker technology that keeps the core busy and active. It keeps you upright. I'm on one right now. I rely on it to keep me comfortable. I'm sitting long periods of time in the chair. It's actually equivalent to 3,000 steps if you're sitting on it all day, and it is non-compressive. So when I get up out of this chair, I don't feel all squished from sitting in front of the computer. So I'm really excited to offer this as a resource as well, because what we do during the day, most of the day is going to affect our other activities, right?
yeah.
So if we're sitting all day, why not sit really well? And so that our other activities we can enjoy, right? So it's
I
a
just had a client last night. She came after work and we were talking about, the sitting is the new smoking. And I have all these old school things that she can do during the day to help shake up the posture. But this is amazing that technology is so accessible. And congratulations on being the Canadian distributor. Good go, way to go, girl. I love it when women get out there and make a business splash. So if someone would like to learn a little bit more, what can they find if they go to your website, Fariya?
Well, if you go to my website, there'll be a pop-up that comes up and it offers a free breathing lesson. So you can access a free breathing lesson on my website. But I also have created a checklist. It's called the Awesome Nose Breather Checklist that provides an excellent evaluation for those who are wondering if they need to get help. So
Okay.
that's another free offering as well. And I have other lessons. I have a YouTube channel. There's a bunch of different things that I offer.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for those resources. And I have to just click over there and check out this awesome nose breather checklist, see if I need to come see you again. So thank you so much, Freya, for generously sharing your wisdom with us. And I truly hope everyone will walk away today so much more curious about their own breath and their own movement. Take back your power, my girlfriends. There is no reason to slowly lose faith that whatever is ailing you cannot be addressed, because it can. Just keep listening to the podcast, just keep asking questions. Now, if you would like to head over to my website, there is a 4-part video course about freeing the joints. Each practice is under 20 minutes. The individual movements help you lubricate the joints and connect with a purer pattern of movement for each joint. And there's even a version you can do while you're in bed. So you can see it's pretty gentle and pretty accessible. I'll put the link to Fariya's website so you can get her free resources and find out more about the chair. I'll put the link to my website in the show notes so you can get that 4-part course and any other resources. Both Fariya and I see clients individually. So if you want to work with us one-on-one, that's available as well. Thank you, Fariya. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. What a delight to talk with you.